Okay, so situation 2, this is if the unknown's on the bottom. Before we get into setting up our SOHCAHTOA formulas, just want to look really quick at how we're going to calculate this. So one way to, I kind of have it worked out that if the unknown's on bottom, we're always going to calculate it a certain way. But if we think about it, think about some numbers we know. If we have 12 divided by 6, that's 2. But what if I don't know this 6 here? I'm going to cross it off, and that's my x. We're trying to think about 12 divided by what gets me to. It's 6, but kind of what we're doing is like we're flip-flopping these. We're doing 12 divided by 2 to figure out what that is on the bottom. Okay, so same thing here. It's like 20 divided by what is 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, so what we're really doing is like we're multiplying by x to bring that up to the other side, and then we're dividing by 4. 20 divided by 4. So like this one, when we get into some decimals, it's going to be whatever 15 divided by 0.792 is. So 15 divided by 0.792 is 18.93, or sorry, 39. 18.3, no, it is 93. Oh, there's a lot of 9s and 3s. It's throwing me off a little. Let's see, 93939. I'll just go to there. Okay, now if I check that, 15 divided by 18.93939 is 0.792. Okay, so kind of use that trick if you get onto these and x is on the bottom and you're totally confused. Pick something that makes sense, like 20 divided by what is 4, it's going to be 5. Think about something that you know. Okay, so when we set this up, 52.5, there's my angle on the bottom. Do my labeling first, just like we were doing before. Always label first. Hypotenuse, opposite will be the 5.7, adjacent will be the x. So I know opposite, I want to know adjacent. So I look at my formulas, which one's opposite and adjacent, O and A. And here I'm going to start SOHCAHTOA. So look at that and put that on your formula sheet. Put that SOHCAHTOA like that on your formula sheet somewhere, if that helps, if that makes sense. So opposite and adjacent, O and A, that's tangent. So tan 52.5, so tangent of the angle is the opposite side, 5.7 over adjacent, x. Okay, so here's where, if it makes sense from what we just did, we're just going to be flip-flopping those. But I'll at least for this first one, kind of write it out to solve it. I'm going to multiply both sides by x. So I'd have x times tan 52.5 equals 5.7. And then to get x alone, I'm going to divide by tangent 25 or 52.5. That's kind of like, that's all just one thing. I could put this in my calculator right now, tan 52.5, and it's just a number. But I like to not have to write out a million decimal points and worry about rounding and all that. So I always just try to do it all in one step in my calculator. It's more efficient. It's less chance to make a mistake and less chance of having a rounding error. So 5.7 divided by tan 52.5 is how I'm putting this in my calculator. And it starts a parenthesis. You don't really need to end it though. So 5.7 divided by tan 52.5 is 4.3737. We're talking about millimeters here, so even 37 is pretty accurate. Okay, now if I look at the triangle, that seems about right. It's the angle across from x is a little less than 52.5, so the side across from it should be a little less. So that looks reasonable. Okay, so notice, and it's really important with these division ones, you have to put the side in first. It has to be 5.7 and then divided by the trig part. Okay, so if we look at our formula sheet, and I'm going to kind of more go off of this on the next one. If the unknown of the equation is the bottom side, we take the side we know divided by the trig part. So this is why I said with the situation 1, it's really important, put the side first every single time to be consistent. So if it's one of the sides that we're trying to figure out, if the unknown's on top, it's the side times the trig part. If the unknown's on the bottom, the x is on the bottom, it's the side divided by the trig part. Okay, so we'll do it kind of going off of that, the formula sheet a little more, this one. So 79 degrees, let me do my labeling. So hypotenuse is C, opposite and adjacent is the 3 feet 4 inches. Okay, now this one, you could change it all to feet or all to inches. I'm going to change it all to inches since 4 inches is a repeating decimal. It's like a third of a foot, so I'm going to make this into 40 inches. 3 times 12, 36, and another 4 is 40 inches. Okay, so now I did my labeling. I know adjacent. I want to know hypotenuse. I'm looking at SOHCAHTOA. You don't have to write this out necessarily, but look at this somewhere on your formula sheet or on your notes. Adjacent and hypotenuse, A and H, that's cosine. So cosine 79 degrees. And I'm putting the degree symbol there. It doesn't mean you have to enter the degree symbol in your calculator. Your calculator should be in degree mode. And if it's not, you've probably been having issues with calculating these so far. Have me check it out. Or just hit reset. Try to reset your calculator. It'll go to degree mode. So cosine 79 is adjacent over hypotenuse. So 40 divided by C. Or just put X, either way. So if my unknown's on the bottom, I'm not going to show the algebra here. If I set up my equation, I'm looking at my formula sheet, unknown is the bottom. So this is situation 2, side divided by the trig part. So I'm going to take 40 divided by cosine 79 in my calculator. 209.633. Okay, now let's see, we want to change that back to feet. I'm going to divide by 12 is 17.469. So that means it's a full 17 feet. I'm going to do 17 times 12 is an even 204. So 204, I want to get up to 209, so that's 5.633. I say nearest half inch, so pretty much like 17 feet, 5.5 inches. So if we're only going to the nearest half inch, something not super accurate, but if I want to be more accurate, 5 and, let's see, that'd be close to 625, 5 and 5/8. Jot that down if you want to be a little more accurate. Now again, next to try these out. I'll just go straight to the answer on these though. If you don't get them, ask me in class. But the first one should be 28 and 13/16. And the second one should be 5 and 13/16. Oh, both ended up 13/16. Kind of coincidental.